allowed to in PG-13, as long as you don't have any nudity. All right. Well, that said, moving on. Let's give you the floor then, Pascal. It's about 7 o'clock. We got the highlight of the Atomic Sketch live event tonight. Send any questions. If you guys know of other good double albums, please share them in the chat. Please challenge Ernest and I's assumptions about the only two good double albums of all time. Send your good ones. And with that said, Pascal, take it away. Do up your screen share and walk us through the world of color. Digital coloring, right? Like, so you're scanning your ink drawing and you're bringing it into Photoshop. Is that how you work?
Yes, sir. Okay. You guys see Photoshop now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay.
I can see it.
All right. Let's see. Page 6 of my 10-page short story. Okay. All right. I'll start with this one here. Yeah, I tried to explain all this to Ernest the other day. I hope it made sense. Okay, so I basically scan, actually, let me show you something real quick. One thing I tend to do also, when I draw my pages, I no longer, let's see here, flat. Okay. Okay, this is something I just did for a guy I met on ArtStation. Okay, so,
sorry. I got a quick interjection. Someone just challenged us, Ernest. Melancholy and Infinite Sadness, Smashing Pumpkins. That's a fantastic double album.
Oh, no
Shout
way.
out to you, Joseph Doombros. You nailed it. That's a fantastic double album.
You're entitled to. I think that album sucks. I mean, I don't like any of the songs on it. I really like Dream. I think
Ernest, I think you need to just be quiet about that.
They're
boring. We'll go back to the demo. Let's go back to the demo. You're a bad person, Ernest.
All right. So when I draw my pages, this is what it looks like. I actually don't do the frames separate. What I found out is when I draw them by hand, these lines don't necessarily line up correctly. So I just go ahead and make no distinction between one frame to another. And so I go in Photoshop and make my frames in here. So now everything is perfect. But since we're just doing
like your panel borders, you mean?
Yeah, I do them in Photoshop. Yeah. Yeah. So
yeah, why not? I mean, that's a drafting nightmare, drawing panel borders by hand. Unless you want that hand-drawn border aesthetics. It works for some pages, but
yeah,
not
if
all of them.
you want that kind of rough look and stuff. But I like to be a little more, I like to be a little more precise. But since we're doing coloring, I guess I'll leave that for another demo, maybe. So, okay. All right. So this is the scanned artwork. I think it's a good idea to be organized and start naming your layers in Photoshop. So I'm gonna layer this. I'm gonna call
absolutely
it just artwork.
File hygiene, so important.
So yeah, double click on this and rename it whatever. Whoops. Okay, and I don't want to accidentally do any coloring on this layer, so I'm gonna lock it. So this locks it. Oh, whoops! Before I do that, actually, I forgot to do. In order to, oh, this is a pretty good thing to show you guys here. Okay, so this is the layer that the artwork is in. So I'm going to make a layer underneath it. So just click on this little thing here and put it underneath. Now, if I take a brush, let's see. How many of you guys are familiar with Photoshop?
I think I'm super familiar, but I think Ernest maybe less so. I would talk to us like we don't know anything.
Okay, all right then. Okay, all right. So this is the tool for brush, basically, and I'm gonna pick the specific kind of brush I want to work with. So let's see. One of the problems of having done this for decades is I know shortcuts. So now I actually have to go into Windows and open up my Windows and stuff because This is F5 if you want to know the shortcut, but to get it.
Oh yeah, I love knowing the keyboard shortcuts. Yeah.
But the cool thing is the stuff in here with shortcuts, they're listed here. So F5 is.
Oh, right. So you could learn it. Like if you don't know the shortcut, you go look at it in the menu bar. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that is if there is a shortcut for it, because most of these don't, you know. So F5, F6, whatever. So I tend to I turn this off because what this does if you have a tablet is if you press harder on your tablet, the brush size will get bigger and bigger. But I don't like that for whatever reason. So I'm gonna pick this. Okay.
Wait, can you stay there for a second? That's the smoothing option. So what does it do exactly? I've always been confused by that option, even though I claim to know a lot about Photoshop.
Well, this works with the tablet. So if you have the pen,
okay,
yeah. So the harder you press, the wider your brush appears on the canvas. So it's pressure sensitive. Right. It's pressure sensitive.
I gotcha. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I don't like that for whatever reason. So
okay. Yeah, you want an even, steady pressure or whatever.
Yep. So now the thing is, I'm gonna pick this random color here, and in case by default the color should show up, but in case it doesn't, it's F6, or just colors under the window menu here. Okay, so now this layer is underneath the artwork. Now, if I go ahead and start drawing, you can't see it. You will see it if you go back to the layer with the artwork, and you go to you change it to instead of normal, you put it on multiply, and there you see it.
Oh, nice.
So now I don't know if this function was created for comic book artists, but it's obviously perfect for it. Okay, so
yeah, it's great for laying inks over like your color layer, right?
Because the black still stays as opaque as it was. The white is transparent. So now I'm gonna lock this because I don't want to color this layer by accident. Because when you do that, you get the little circle with the slash in the middle, meaning that your tool.
That's a great tip. That's great. So yeah, because a lot of times that's like an art meme, right? Where you painted it beautifully, but then you realize it's on the line art layer.
Oh, dude, I've done that. I've done that a few times, and it's really aggravating. Yeah.
That's a great tip. I'm going to use that next time.
Okay, very good. So, okay, so this is the layer with the color. That's obviously not the color I want to do. So I'm just gonna, I think, so if you, well, I'm just gonna select everything and delete it anyway. So select tool. I'm gonna select this and press the delete key. And if you like this little cursor here tells you that you're inside an area that's selected. So and this is the crosshair here shows you that it's not. So I want to go ahead and what I'm going to do next, I don't need the selection. So you can just click outside of it. And I think select, deselect. There we go. And there we go. There's a shortcut for that too. So now nothing's selected. Okay, so all right, guys, so it gets a little complicated here. So I'm gonna take the wand tool, and that's W for short. Now I'm gonna go back to the layer with the artwork. So this is the area I'm gonna start coloring. So I'm gonna click inside of here. So it's going to select everything inside of this area. So I don't know if you guys could see that. Control plus to zoom in, and the space bar to move around. So it's showing me that all of this stuff here is selected. Now, does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
Okay, zoom out again. So I want the main body of this missile to be one color. So I want to select all of these compartments over here. So if I want to add these areas in addition to this one that's already selected, hold down Shift and keep on clicking to get like really tiny areas like this area here. It would just take forever to go in and click all that stuff. So we'll get back to that afterwards. So another shortcut, and I'm sorry to throw all of these shortcuts at you at once, but you could do Control minus or Alt, Control, and space bar. And if you go left, click down and go left and right, and you're zooming in. The cool thing with this is, I think this is actually a 3D piece of software, like an OpenGL thing. So, which is pretty cool. So, I can't remember when exactly, at what version Photoshop implemented that in. But yeah, I think this is actually like a 3D thing, which is fantastic. But anyway, all right. So I'm going to continue to add to my selection. Hold down Shift and keep on clicking. I think I'm going to have the wings be a different color. So I'm going to select this, this here. And for now, that's all I'm going to do. Okay. All right. So so this is the layer with the line work, and I want to put the color underneath it. Now, the problem with doing this is if I fill this, let's see, right click. Let's see. Look, another problem with known shortcuts. Let's see, edit, fill. Okay, Shift F5 for shortcut, and you get the menu. So by default, it'll select the foreground color, which is that color here. And everything is normal. Actually, I don't want this to be pink, clearly, because, I don't know, this is not a good color, obviously. So
I don't know. It's pretty hot.
yeah, so let's see. Let's do a little
Hot pink.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm going too fast again. So here are your colors. Click on the top one. Let's make it a little metallic bluish.
I noticed you got the RGB sliders. Do you recommend working with CMYK if you're going to go to print, Pascal, or do you usually color in RGB?
Yeah, you clearly you want to do CMYK if you go to print. That's what printers use. I guess I'm just doing the digital, like if this was a web comic or something.
Sure, but like web comics, you would use the RGB sliders because you get a better range, probably.
Well, the problem with these sliders is like, because in here I get the entire menu, and if you switch from this to this or that, you know, you get the whole menu. This is then, and the thing with the sliders is you gotta make a guess as to what you want, you know, and this over here.
Yeah. So you're not even using the sliders to pick a color. You're clicking in.
Yeah,
got it.
Yeah, I like this better. So
that makes sense. And the HSB is good because that's hue, saturation, brightness, right? So
yeah,
if you need to shade a color, you can use those sliders to just step down a couple shades or whatever.
Yeah. Something that helps too is let's see, if you're doing something really intricate, and these ants here, at least that's what some people call it, because they look like small ants.
Marching ants, absolutely.
Yeah. If because they I can't remember, maybe it was back in the 90s. The Photoshop software engineers had the brilliance of making that disappear, even though your area is still selected. Let me see. View extras. Okay, there we go. It's still selected, but you don't see the
weird.
Yeah, so that's really cool, and it's Control H.
Oh,
I use that. I use that all the time. Okay. So
if you're a Mac user, Command H.
Yeah. Okay, so let's name this base colors, and I'll show you why I'm calling it base colors in a second. Okay. All right, edit, go to fill. Everything is set to default, because if you go to background color, it's going to fill it with white, because this is white here. So foreground color, normal, 100%. Okay, now this is just to show you what happens when you select and then fill it right away. You end up with all of this white and all of this stuff, and it's kind of dirty. So
yeah.
To go back, like I want to undo this fill. So you can either go into the history. Let's see. Okay, you could go back into the history and have this as a floating menu, or going back and forth in history is to go back. It's controlled Alt and Z, and to go back in history, to go forward in history is Control Shift Z. But you're probably better off with the history thing, you know. So this fill, so undo. All right. So what I do here is let me show you just so you guys know what I'm doing. Let me show the extras again. I actually
marching ants, they're back. Yeah.
Yeah, so I expand this by 3 pixels. So edit, select. Yeah, this is, again, I know this with the shortcut, so I gotta take step by steps to show you guys. Is it edit, fill, transform?
I think it's under select, maybe, right?
Yeah, sorry about that.
Select,
modify,
and then modify. They kind of changed it in recent Photoshops. It's kind of not as intuitive.
Yeah, so expand by 3. Now the
okay.
Yeah. Now the reason I'm a little confused, and I apologize for that, is I just know it so quickly that the cool thing with doing this on a PC as opposed to the Mac is you can go into the menus and just navigate with Alt and the arrows. And so I just know those 3 keys quickly. So select, modify, expand. 3 pixels, usually 3 is good enough. So now it expands my selection by 3 pixels. And what happens is fill that with the color, which is fill foreground color. Okay, and I'm gonna hide my selection.
Oh, nice. Can you zoom back in? I want to see that clean.
So now it's, yeah, perfect.
So clean. Yeah. That's a huge difference. Just those 3 pixels.
Well, this is what's happening. It's the selection just goes underneath the line work.
Nice.
Yeah. So now to make this a whole clean thing here, okay, this may get a little complicated. The first thing to do, which is fairly simple, is to first you go to deselect. I'm going to go back to the brush sizes. So this is a airbrush. It's really smooth. I'm going to go ahead and do it really straight. So that's the second brush here. Close that off. Okay, now to make the brush bigger or smaller, and I don't think there's any way around this other than using the shortcut. I don't think there's anything in here. Yeah, oh, I'm sorry, there we go. Let's see here. Size, perfect, okay. Yeah, because you could do this using the brackets right next to the letter P. The left one makes it smaller, the right one makes it bigger, or you could open up the brush window and mess with this here, basically. All right, now just you could go ahead and just go ahead and color all your areas, basically. Okay, now the next trick is a lot more complicated. So if it gets too complicated, you could go ahead and dismiss this. What I do a lot of is, let's do, let's see here. Yeah, let's do this wing over here. Let me finish this off, okay. Let's do this wing with the very complicated manner. All right, so I'm gonna click on, actually, go back to base colors. Now, the reason I call this base colors is because there's no shading on it. Ernest, you still there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because Joshua just took off there. Okay, I guess he's back in this. Okay, all right, so, okay, so to go for this wing over here. So the very complicated thing you can do is, all right, go to the artwork layer, make a new layer, and then select the pen tool. That's this thing here. Shortcut for that is another place that shows you shortcuts is if you click on a tool and hold it down, it'll show you the shortcut for it. P over here. Okay, so this is, I had a tough time when I was showing this because I taught Photoshop for like maybe 6 months or something. This is a tool that's borrowed from Adobe Illustrator, and it's really complicated. So like I said, if it gets too complicated, just do what I was what I did before with this one. But I love. But
the tool is also found in Adobe Illustrator, is what you're saying.
The tool is originally from there, and they incorporated into Photoshop eventually. The same thing with the vectorizing of the lettering, because before it was just pixels, and eventually the letters were vectorized so that when you resize them, they didn't all become pixelized. But that's that could be another presentation. So,
oh yeah.
Anyway, okay, so with this thing, you click down and hold and stretch it, and click down here just once, click here once. Basically, you're making an outline of the area you want to fill. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. It does get a little complicated with the curves. So another way to get around that is just click basically your shape. Okay. So now, whoops. Okay. Because the first one was a click and drag, this one is a curve. So if I just click on the first one, I'm going to get a curve here. So I don't want that. So undo. So when I get to here, I got to click and hold using the Alt key. So hold down Alt first, click down, and then drag it. So then you get this little, you get this little thing over here. So like I said, this is really complicated. So you may want to bypass this information. Okay, 1 second here. Nope, just lost everything I just did there. Okay.
Hey, I'm still listening. I was just trying not to butt in so much.
Okay.
Trying to take a back seat to this fine demo. So would you suggest just lasso tooling everything if you're not going to get into the pen tool? Let's say we're not as advanced as the pen tool level yet. Would you recommend just lasso tool drawing your selections?
Well, actually, I would just recommend the brush tool, but I'll show you the lasso real quick.
Okay. Just paint it in there, yeah.
Yeah, right after this thing. Well, to complicate things even more for you, if this thing is a little off, you know what? Let me just skip that because I'm getting too complicated here. So, all right. So this is on an empty layer. So once I have my shape created, right click inside of it, create vector mask. Okay. So what that means is if I go back to the layer with my base colors, if I click inside here, holding the control key first, click inside here, it'll make this selection. So then pick a different color. Let's see. Let me go for something a little more brownish. Okay. Go to fill, foreground color, and then you got this there, basically. I hope that makes sense. I'll go ahead and do it the more, well, let's do the lasso tool, because the other option is, of course, now remember, this is still selected here. So deselect. Okay, so using the lasso tool. So there's two ways to do it with the lasso tool. Let's see. The shortcut for the lasso is L. And if you, this is the regular lasso tool, which is you could just draw your selection. And I'm using a mouse, so my hand isn't very steady here.
Oh, you're doing a really good job.
Oh yeah, I mean lasso tool is rough if you don't have a Wacom tablet or something like that.
Yeah. So let's do something a little more precise. I'm gonna.
That's pretty good though, mouse. You pretty much nailed it.
Well, no, because I've missed there's some open area here, and it's all over the place. But thanks anyway. So, but let me deselect there. Okay, so the other lasso is this one. So that one is almost
Polygonal.
Yeah.
Polygonal lasso tool. Yep.
It's almost like the pen tool. So you just click and keep going.
It's a great debate amongst designers and artists. There are many who like the pen tool and many who just prefer the lasso tool. So
yeah,
I think people at home, you just choose what's right for you.
Yeah.
If you're faster with one than the other, speed's the name of the game, baby.
Yeah.
This is capitalist 2021. You got to move fast.
So then once you're done, you're ready to close this off. You could either go to your beginning or just make sure you're lined up with it and just double click and it'll close this off for you, and then go back to fill. There we go.
Bam. I mean, kind of same result, right? So, I mean,
Yep.
the pen tool definitely gives you a cleaner look, but if you can do it just as good with the lasso, why not?
Well, the good thing about the vector layer is if you have a really complicated selection, like let's say there were like 17 different areas here that had this color, you could save your selection. There's so many different ways to do that, but so now since your vector mask is a separate layer, anytime you go, you don't even have to go back to the layer. Actually, anytime you want that selection again, you just hold down, click. No matter what tool you have, you hold down. You hold down Control and click on inside your vector mask twice. Once, and then there goes your selection there, basically.
Oh, right. So it's there for you when you need it.
Yeah, and to make things, this is something else you may want to discard it because it might be a little too complicated. But if I do, okay, so I have my bluish tint over here, and I'm going to use the wand tool again. And now, oh geez, I'm trying to make it, keep it simple. Okay, I think by default.
Hey, some people like the complex. That's all right.
Okay.
You make it simple and complex. You give the disclaimer.
Okay.
This is advanced stuff, and then we'll get back to the beginner mode.
Okay. I think by default, when you start Photoshop, the tolerance is 32, and I may explain that later if you guys don't have a headache by the time I'm done here. So, okay. So what the tolerance, what the wand also does, because I showed you at the beginning when you're inside the layer with all the artwork, it'll just grab what's inside the line work of an enclosed area. What it also
that's cool. So you can still magic wand your ink layer even though it's locked.
Yeah,
and you won't paint on it.
It won't let
That's very cool. That's critical.
It won't let you alter it, but some of the tools like wand will work. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Then you take it to your colors layer and then put it in the right place. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I just selected that area. Go back to base colors, deselect because I'm going to show you something. Okay, so what the main function for the wand tool is to select colors that are similar in the canvas. So for example, if I want to select this area here, it's going to select all of the yellowish brown area. I mean, all the brown color in this area. Because if you look at it without the line work, it's all this area here, basically. All right, so if I click on it, it'll select everything here. If I unclick contiguous, whatever that word means, it will select, let me deselect this here, okay? It will select everything of the specific shape in the whole canvas. So it should, when I click on here, select this also.
So anything that's that orange color will get selected.
Yes. So there you go. I click here. Okay. So now I want to shade, I'm going to start shading this. I'm going to start shading this area here. So I'm going to select this whole thing here. Because even though it looks separated because of the line work, when you turn that off, it's all one chunk, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I'm going to lock this layer, because one thing that I've done often that drives me insane is because we're going to start shading. So I want my shading layer to be different than the layer with the base colors.
Hey, real quick on the base color, don't forget your underbelly or your rocket. You got a little empty hole down there.
Oh, I was just, okay, we could do that. I was just trying to move a little quicker. Okay.
Hey, no, we gotta have perfection on these demos.
Okay. All right then. So
I just feel, just what would be the quickest way you would add that in, I guess.
Okay, well, we could go back into using the pen tool, basically. But first, since this is such a big area, I will go back into the layer with the line work. This area, this thing here, click on here. Oops, I'll see now, because I forgot to turn on.
Oh, the contiguous comes back to haunt you. Yeah.
So deselect. So go back.
Command Control D also is your shortcut, right?
Yeah. Or undo, whichever way,
Oh yeah, that's true.
So now, yes, I'm gonna shift and click in here. Let's see. Okay, you got all that, which is good. Now, again, you could go in and click on all of this, which is ridiculous, or just go in here with the brush afterwards, basically. So, once again, you got to make sure to expand, select, modify, expand by 3. And then I want to fill it, but since we're on the layer that is locked, it should not allow me to fill. Let's see. Edit.
Oh.
Fill.
Yeah, I want to know, what is it? Does it give you an error?
Yeah, there you go. Because the layer is locked.
Oh, nice.
There's the error message,
Right. Otherwise you have a nightmare down the road when you realize you filled on the line layer.
Yeah. And I mean, it's one of the reasons I save all my scanned artwork and stuff.
Right.
So, yeah. And then again, I have the drawing, which of course a pain in the ass because I have to scan it over again. But anyway, so go back to base color layer. I'm gonna hide the ants, extras, and then fill. Okay, so now you guys are familiar with fill. Can I go and start using the shortcut for that, or you want me to?
I think we got the fill shortcut. Okay. Yeah, I think that's a good call.
Okay, because whoops, I used this wrong color. So go back, which is Control Alt Z to undo that. Pick the right color. Okay, so now the color I need is no longer in here. So in order to get it, you can use the eyedropper and click on the color I want. And I think the other way to do it, let me see if this works. I click here and click there. There it is. Perfect. Okay. Yeah. So so this, you go into here and you get out of this menu, it'll give you the eyedropper automatically. Which is
nice. Yeah. You could just eyedrop your way right to altering your foreground color.
Yeah. Okay, so now instead of going up to fill again, I'm just going to do Alt backspace, which gives you this over here.
Bam. There it is. Nice.
And
cool. That was flaring up my OCD. Thank you for coloring that bit in.
now, if I did control backspace instead of alt, you get the color in the back here, which is that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we want to do, okay, so now to do this the simple way, go back to the brushes, which is in window. So that's F5. I'm gonna go ahead and use the shortcut from now on. The brush tool is not selected. The shortcut for that is, instead of going here, it's B. And okay, so I want this brush, and then I think I'm still selected. Oh no, I'm not. Okay. So the simple way is to do this, basically.
Yeah.
But me, what I do is I always use the pen tool. So I do it. I've used this sucker since the 90s, so I'm pretty fast with it, So
yeah.
So basically, I want to fill this whole area, make sure it's closed. I think you could fill it even if it's not closed. Let me see. Let me give that a shot. Right click in your area, fill. Again, it's set to foreground at 100% opacity, normal. And yeah, you don't have to fill. Yeah,
there it is.
Now you, since I didn't save this as a vector mask because I don't want necessarily to do that here, you have to press escape twice, else this stuff will be floating around forever.
Okay, so you can quickly do a pen tool fill, but then not keep it as a mask. That's cool.
Yeah, and you don't have to enclose it either. You could go ahead and close it, but you don't have to.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the fast way that I do that, basically. So I think this is one. These are good chunks here. Let's fill this one. Oh, another thing you can do now. Looking at the base colors, we have this here filled and that filled. So if I want to fill this over here with this color, again, you could go in with the brush tool, use the eyedropper to select that. You go in here and whoops, wrong color. Okay. Oh, geez. Okay, I'm gonna get all complicated here.
Oh, it's done that thing where it goes to the background. I hate when that happens.
Yeah, and this little, I hope you can see it. There's a little square line around this. It means that that's the color you're working with. So
right,
go back to the top color. So you gotta select that, which is the blue. So okay.
it's a key tip. That's like one that plagued me for years, and finally I figured it out.
Yeah,
that little highlight border in the color palette is so crucial.
So I have the brush tool selected, and I want to pick this color. So you can go in and grab the eyedropper, or if you're in the brush tool, hold down Alt, and it'll give you the eyedropper. So click on that, which makes the main color this color. Brush tool is activated, so you can just go ahead and do this. The other quick way to do it, and again, you may want to dismiss this because this is getting a little complicated, but make a new layer underneath your base colors. Let's say, okay, this was a pre-made file. So when you bring this in, these from Photoshop, these layers won't be here. So let me get rid of these. Okay, delete. Okay, so I need a layer underneath this one for what I'm going to show you now. So you can either go to the base color layer, click on this new layer thing, and then move it underneath it. Or what you could do is, if you want to make a layer underneath the layer that you're on, hold on Control and click on the new layer tool, and that will make a layer underneath it, basically. Now, the reason I did this is, let's see, real quick. Oh, I guess I should show you erase too. That's pretty important. So here's the erase tool, which is E for short, and it works just like a brush. So F5 for the brush menu. And then, like I said, it works just like a a brush, so you have the pressure sensitive thing that I don't like. And I don't want this smooth brush. I want something more precise. So I click on this one, take this out. Okay, the reason that I'm showing you this is I'm just going to show you a trick here, basically. So I'm going to erase this.
Nice.
I'm just going to erase this for now. Okay. All right. Okay, so now this is the base layer. This is the layer underneath it. And the reason I'm showing you this is, let's say I want this panel to be different than this color and that color. So I'm going to pick a random other color. Now, like I said, this layer is underneath it. So I got the brush set at this color, and it's underneath this stuff. So then you could just do this basically.
Oh, and it doesn't matter if you go beyond the lines, huh?
Because it's underneath it. See, it's a mess down here.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow, good trick.
So the only problem with this is if I want this and that to be one layer at the end, if I go here and I want to merge both of these as to one layer, so I merge down, basically. Merge down. And the only problem with that is it loses the name base color, because base color is the layer that's coming down, and so this is the dominant name. I mean, it's no big deal. What you need to do then is Control E is the shortcut for merge down. You just double click on it and rename it, basically, you know. And I'm so lazy. What I do myself is, before I merge down, I go here, double click on it, copy that, merge down, double click that, and then paste. That's how lazy I am. So.
Or you can Control V, Control C, Control V, right?
Oh yeah,
Copy paste.
Yeah. So, okay. So now this is all one layer, but okay. So here we go. Okay. So now we're gonna go into shading. Let's see. Okay. I left some white over here. Okay. Okay. All right. Good enough. Okay. Since I don't want to shade this layer, and I've done that a few times in the past, and it drives me nuts, because what happens is that I'm so fast I could do like 15-20 minutes of shading, and then I found out everything's on the same layer. So and the thing is, if I go into, because I don't think you can stretch the history. I think this is as far back as it gets.
I think if you go to settings, you can change how many history states you have.
Okay.
But it's a huge performance drag if you go back too far.
It'll kill your performance on your computer.
Yeah, your performance will suffer, but you can go back. I mean, I think you can have it do 100 states in the past if you want to go crazy.
I think Adobe Illustrator is like that by default. It's crazy, you know. So, all right. So actually, real quick, let me do this here. Yeah, speaking of which, my computer is singing away right now as far as being pushed. So I think I think it's because
it's breathing heavy.
I think it's because it's on Zoom. And let's see how far it's going. Let's see here. I'm at oh, that's not too high. Okay, 16. I was expecting like 40 or something. Okay. All right. So let me do this real quick and match this to this color. Okay, and we'll go into this. If you guys want me to show you this, I'll show you the steps of expanding by 3 and fill. I made that an action, and I'll show you that later if you want, because you can you can save some actions instead of having to go through all of the menus and everything. So I got the right color, so I save that as an action here. Play, boom, boom. There we go. So, all right, good enough.
Yeah, that's getting pretty advanced, the actions, but that's cool.
Yeah,
that's good stuff.
Yeah, just once we're done, let me know if you want me to explain that. But okay, so base colors, lock that down, make a new layer, call that shadows. I sometimes have more than one layer for shadows, so I'm gonna call
Do you
this.
keep all the different colors on the base layer together though?
Yeah, sometimes I have that as separate layers too, depending on how complicated it gets.
Right, like if it's complicated, you would keep like the purple, orange, and blue on separate layers, but this one's simple
Yeah,
enough.
like let's say, for example, like something like this. That's insane, So, you know, you know, so that would be a lot of different layers. But anyway, okay.
Yeah, that makes sense because you can always magic wand those areas if you needed.
Yeah. All right. So actually, up until now, I wasn't even using the tablet, but once I get into shading, I definitely have to. I'm going to go ahead and make this 4 layers of shading just to make it look a little more interesting. So, yeah, there you go. That's why I call it Shadows 1. So what I usually do to start shading, I'm going to once again pick this color because right now it's this weird saturated color. I want this color. So Alt for the eyedropper. So I want a darker shade of this color here. So click on the colors and you can either, like when you use the I'm sorry, Josh. The B stands for what? This is saturation.
Brightness,
Brightness.
I believe.
Yeah. So brightness. And the cool thing with that, it gives you just the shades of that particular color. I'm gonna go into darker.
Right, you're only adjusting the value, which is super important, right?
Yeah. So I guess I'll give it a little more saturation. So in order to do that, you can either click on here or just move this to the right a little bit more. So it's a little more bluish. Okay, so now I want a smoother brush, F5. So I want the airbrush effect. And to make it bigger, you can either do this or, and the problem with this is after it hits this point, you won't see a representation of your brush size in here because it's hitting the limit. So this is why I like using the brackets, because the brackets make it a lot bigger. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and basically, oops, I guess I forgot to select this area. I thought it was selected, so undo that. Go back to the base color, the wand, which is W, which is this tool here. Click on here, so I got all my blues. I'm gonna hide my selection, Control H. I hope you remember that from earlier. Whoops, did I just click the right thing there? Let's see. Okay, it's hidden. Okay. All right, so again, if I'm on the wrong layer, the brush tool would be blocked. So going to the shadow layer, which is not blocked, and this area is selected. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start shading, basically. The other way to do this, whoops, if you want a straight line, I showed you and I showed Josh and Ernest this last time. If I go back, if you want a straight line, I could click on here once and then hold down Shift and click here, and I'll give you a straight line, basically. All right, so probably fine tune this a little bit.
Nice.
You know what? Let me.
Damn! Look at that cylinder shading already.
Let me do
coming into play.
I'm gonna make. Oh, you know what? Yeah. Let me make this all thicker. Okay. All right. And then this is really where you see where you've missed some areas. We'll fill that up in a bit. Okay. So so that's the first layer of shading. So that's shadows 1. Let me do another shadow. Shadows 2. Go ahead and lock this, but I think I'm careful enough to know that I'm not on that layer now. So shadows 2, darker color. Same thing. There you go. So that's pretty cool. So now
nice.
You have one layer here, you have a second one here. So now let's
So
do it.
you're actually breaking down the shadows into multi-layers for greater flexibility. Like you're not just doing all shadows on one layer, all highlights.
Yeah, I mean, usually I just do one layer of shading because if I do, because I'm going to have a highlight here, so that means 4 layers. Now, if
Yeah.
I want to do that, the reason I do only 3 is if I do 4 and I want to do 4 on this, I'll be on there forever, basically. You know. So, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to make it manageable for sure.
For time, yeah. So okay, so we're done with the shadowing. Now I want to highlight. So I'm on this layer, highlights. Make a new layer. Call it highlights. Okay. All right, so I still have the same selection. I'm going to go back to picking this color, go back to here. One thing that does happen with the gradient here, when you get just the shading of one color, is you hit a limit here because this is not bright enough for me. So you can either move this to the left to get a brighter, or you go to saturation, and that'll give you a brighter color. So whatever way you want to do it. So you have a brighter color here. Again, make sure you're not on any of those layers. This is a new layer. I'm going to zoom out a little bit.
Yeah.
And again, do your shading, basically. Yeah. All right, so there it is. And so
Wow.
to fill all this stuff.
Coming to life.
Yeah, and to fill all this stuff, make sure you're on the right layer. This was actually, let's see. Yeah, this was the selection, which means that, so I'm going to hide the selection, which means that if I wanted to fill this up, so I got the brush tool, pick this color, make sure I'm on the right layer. Let's see here. Okay, it's this layer. Now again, you know, this is your selection. So if I want to fill this up, it's not going to let me because this is not selected. So you can either deselect and then go in there with it.
Bam.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Or
perfect.
Which is even more complicated, of course. You could take because if you, for some reason, you still want your selection, you could go in and grab your lasso tool. Let's just grab the simplistic one. Hold down Shift, and then go ahead and can do your selection. Now this is selected. Go back to brush and fill this in, basically. So I'm going to deselect, going to make a regular brush and fill this stuff in. Make sure I'm on the right layer. Okay, well, you get the gist. Yeah, there you go. All right, so I guess that's it. You know, yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. Of course, it gets really complicated, you know, when you're working on stuff.
That's it. What about the smoke? What about the fins?
Oh,
You're not going to show us that?
I could do that. That's fine. I could also show you
Do a
the.
quickie mode. Quickie mode. We got to get at least a whole panel, right?
Okay, all right.
Hey, sorry, man. I'm putting.
No, that's no problem.
we run a tight ship here on Atomic Sketch podcast hangout Zoom session.
All right then. All right, so I'm
I mean, you could just do it the quickest, dirtiest way you could. Like if you were on deadline and you had to shade all this smoke and the background, how would you do it?
Well, first I would drink a lot of coffee, that's for sure. So, okay, so smoke was that gray basically. All right, gonna pick white. Turn that off. Okay, I want a gray for the smoke, and I'll show you the action soon enough. But you guys know it's the go up to selection, modify, expand by 3, and fill.
Mm-hmm.
So there you
go.
go.
Right, and you've programmed that to be automatic. That's great.
Exactly.
Great.
Yeah. And then the funny thing with what basically what this does is you make a new layer in here for a new function, and then you press the record button. No, well, actually, once you make it and you name it, it'll start recording. It'll record everything you want. And the thing is, sometimes I forget I'm recording, so it'll have 17 steps and stuff, you know. And the cool thing is, you then have to stop recording, and you can remove steps and then save it,
Right.
which is great. It's a great tool.
Yeah, we should do a follow-up. For anyone interested in actions, we should do a follow-up because that's definitely advanced stuff.
I could do that real quick tonight, but then yeah, whatever you want, whatever you want to do. So, all right, so that's that. Usually what I do is I go ahead and do all of the base colors before I get to highlights and shadows. So because let's see here, I'm gonna make this kind of a incendiary, kind of fiery thing. And it's more complicated, so I'm not gonna do that on the base layer. We'll just go ahead and do that afterwards. So I'm gonna keep it
like a special effects layer you'll add for that.
Yeah, and that's simplistic enough, so I'll show you that. So fill this up here.
Oh, thank you for filling that.
Okay.
That pleases me.
Now, the thing that sometimes what I do when I'm really crazy is I go ahead and turn this off here, and I go in and fill all of this stuff.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Sometimes
even though no one will ever see it. Wow, that's dedication.
Sometimes, well, the good thing with that is because when I choose it, it's one big chunk,
Oh yeah.
So what I actually do then, and I haven't not done this too often, but what I do then is I make a new layer and I go in with the pen tool and I make an entire thing for that particular. I'm being fast here, obviously, but I do an entire shape of that without ever using the wand tool, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So
that seems like a cleaner way to do it.
Yeah, it's just
if you have detailed line art, it's gonna create problems with the magic wand.
Yeah. So then I make the create vector mask. So there's my entire layer here, basically. And so whatever. But so I do like that because it's really clean and it's one big chunk and all that stuff, whatever. But
anyway, like maybe magic wand is faster, but then you have this shape with all the holes in it.
Well, you always get all these little white shapes and stuff.
Right.
But
it's a good tip, like in a pinch, do the magic wand. But if you can, just do a quick pen tool or lasso.
I'm not sure, but I think the color flatters because this is a new industry for me because I thought like if you were a comic book artist, I thought you were just a colorist, but there are people who are hired to just do this step, just chunks of different colors without shading. That's their entire job, basically.
Oh, right. Yeah, flatters. I've heard of that. I mean, that's a lot of work, the flatting, and then they give it to the high-level colorist to finish it up.
Someone else comes in with this stuff, basically. Yeah. Okay, so so this is all the base colors. I'm going to make a different layer for the background here. So let's see here. Hold on, Control, click here, which gives me a layer back here. I'm going to call this background. Okay. Now, if I, let's see, what's a good color? Sometimes what I do for a background color is I pick the biggest color on my main layer, which is this bluish thing. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. And if I go and press, now I have nothing selected. If I go and press fill, which is the, let's see, which is this thing here that I've shown you guys already, which is, okay, so obviously I have nothing selected, so it's going to fill everything here. Again, the shortcut for that is Alt backspace. So it'll do that. But I don't want, obviously, I don't want the entire page, obviously, So So what we'll go ahead and select that. I'm going to undo that. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select just this frame and fill the background. So a few different ways to do it. I actually do suggest using either the lasso tool or the pen tool for this.
How about the rectangle tool? You don't want that?
Well, the problem with that is, okay, let's do that then. Okay, which is the shortcut for that, and well, you could click on here. The shortcut for that is M, which is listed here. You could do that. The problem is you're a little far away from the precise corner.
I see.
Here. Yeah, so that's kind of a, so there's a little bit of a guessing game here. And yeah, see, there you go. You're off here.
I see.
So, yeah, okay, yeah, there you go. You're off here. So that's why I suggest the lasso tool, and by lasso tool I mean the precise one.
Oh, the polygonal. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So now let's see. The problem with here is you need to, when you're using it, you have to navigate. You either have to zoom in and out, or in the midst of using it, hold down the space bar to navigate. And I guess this works. Control minus to zoom out a little bit.
Right.
Okay.
You want to be at a zoom level where you have some control.
Well, there you go. Here's the problem. Because I was moving, I never clicked down, but because I'm moving the area, it's clicking down. You see? So that's a problem. So I'm going to escape out of there. So I guess if I don't want to go back to the pen tool, which is a little confusing, you could just go back to the art layer, the one tool. So click on here, hold out shift and click more areas. Okay, that's pretty much it. Let's see. Okay, again, because of this, you have to expand by 3. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put this background shading on a different layer. That's more organized for me anyway. So
yeah, that makes sense. And what do you, would you pick a contrasting color? Or do you have a methodology for what kind of color?
So let's get into that. So again, expand by 3 and fill, which is an action I already made. Right now the color is this one. Okay, so we have that. So I'm going to hide this selection, Control H. Okay, so one thing you can do, and this is just a experimentation to see if the results are good.
Yeah.
To get the complementary color of that, let's see here. Hopefully I won't get too let's see. Okay, complementary colors. Okay. Okay, so now what tends to happen is, for whatever reason, what tends to catch our eye, I guess this is some kind of weird biological thing with the way the eye works. If you have, let's say, a character, like let's say I'm designing a superhero and I want his colors to catch your attention, I might give him a yellow shirt with purple pants. And for some reason, that tends to be pleasing as far as aesthetically. So now, the function that does this in Photoshop is if you have a color, now remember this blue is selected right now. If I want the complete, what do you call it, complementary equivalent of this color, it's Control I, which is
so that'll give you the complementary on the color wheel. It'll flip it to the complementary,
which is really ugly.
Oh, nice one.
I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know what that is here. I just know the shortcut.
Yeah, I mean, same. Control Command I is how I do it too.
Yeah.
I think it's invert. It's invert color, but I don't know where that
Oh, it's
is.
okay. Well, okay. It's listed as the step to go back as Control Z, but I don't know where. Yeah, I'll have to look that up. Sorry there, Lily. So,
It might be image adjust invert, perhaps. Yeah, there you go. C Control
oh, there we go.
I.
Awesome.
There you go.
Perfect. Okay,
Image
cool.
adjust invert. Now we're back to the blue.
Yeah.
Oh,
Now that's an
I didn't realize it took you to the exact complement on the color wheel though. That's really cool.
yeah, and it's pretty ugly. So then the great thing about
I mean, it's definitely a nice contrast.
yeah, but the great thing about Photoshop obviously is you can experiment all day long. So you can cycle through all the colors available until you have one you like. And I'm trying to think. Let's see, because if you go to, let's see, if you go to view, there we go. Okay, that's right. Okay,
Well, there you go.
another shortcut. This is Control U. So let me see. In order to get there, oh Jesus. Oh, there we go. Hue saturation, adjustment, image, adjustments, hue saturation.
Have you ever done, Pascal, in the layers palette? You can also do a non-destructive edit to your background. Have you done that before?
You could show me right after this.
Okay. Yeah. It's just all those icons at the bottom of the layers palette. You have some options that do this kind of thing.
Okay. I think I know what you mean. We'll get to
You've
that.
probably done it. But yeah, this is the quickest way.
Yeah. So then you can cycle through all of this stuff until there's something in here you like. I kind of like this. And then you can mess also. This is almost like the options in here, basically, where you can mess with the saturation, lightness, all that stuff. So I'm going to kind of leave it as a 9 o'clock sky kind of thing, you know. Yeah, pretty much there.
Nice.
Okay. So I guess that's pretty cool. What I tend to do, so let's see here. That's okay. So what we did here is we selected just this area. So now the you know what? Let me fill this in, and then I'll show you what I usually do. Because we just missed this down here too, actually. So let's see here. All right, so now to get a little complicated, because I'm going to do something a little fancy here, I'm going to make a new layer above here called exhaust. So this is the exhaust from this missile. So,
all right, the combustion, like fiery bit.
Yeah. So just to be careful, and I suggest you guys do this too, is if granted this is not, even if we were to do it here, it wouldn't damage anything, but go ahead and lock this down or whatever, you know. So exhaust.
Yeah.
So I want to select this area, artwork, magic wand, zoom in a little bit. So select this area and select that area. Now I do need the rest of this stuff here. So first off, expand by 3 without yet filling. So select, modify, expand by 3. Okay. It's kind of a pain in the butt because this stuff is still not filled in yet.
Oh yeah.
This stuff either. I'm gonna go ahead and use the pen tool because I do prefer that one. And again, it will get a little complicated here because I'm using this to add to my existing selection. Okay. All right. So I just finished drawing this. And this
is. If you guys have any questions after the demo, email Pascal.
Yeah. All right. So this is selected and I want to add this new thing to it. So right click here, make selection, add to selection.
Oh, wow, that's next level.
Yeah.
Man, I didn't know about that one. Wow, very cool.
I have no idea how I figured that out, actually.
That is a great one.
I
did not know about that.
Yeah, it's really, really cool.
That's a next level thing. This is high level Photoshop, folks. You guys, You would have to pay to get this from Adobe Max or something.
Well,
Like, this is good.
Either that or just go to YouTube, really. So, yeah.
I don't think so, man. I try to find things on YouTube for Photoshop tutorials. They're
not that
worthless
much
compared to this.
No,
I think there's a lot of junk on YouTube that aren't very good tutorials too.
Yeah, there's terrible. It's just like people like, oh, I have a lifestyle. Check me out. And like they don't have good tips, you know.
Well, years ago, I was trying to learn Flash, the animation thing. Some guy gave me wrong directions.
No, that's happening too. Yeah, absolutely.
That's absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. Okay, so oops. I don't want to forget this over here. Okay. Okay, there we go. All right. So
all right. So note for the viewers at home, note the situations where Pascal used the pen tool versus the polygonal lasso. That's a key point.
Yeah. Okay, so we're just on this layer, so I want to go back to the exhaust layer. I'm going to hide my selection again. Okay, so well, I'm going to go here and let's see. I'm going to start with yellow. Okay, brush tool. I want the smooth brush, not the brutal, aggressive one. I'm going to make that a bit bigger with the brackets. Okay, yellow. Okay, that sounds about right. Okay, so the area, well, I guess I could just show it then because I don't think I can explain it correctly. So I'm gonna leave the white in the center of the rocket if I'm explaining that correctly. So I hope you guys see that I'm leaving some white here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I'm gonna go ahead and pick a darker color. A little reddish. That's not very saturated there. Let's see. Okay, there we go. All right. So now I'm gonna, that might be a little too dark actually, but I'm gonna not overtake the entire yellow. So, all right, so I hope that kind of looks like flame, fiery kind of thing.
It's very convincing, yes.
Okay, there we go. That's what I was going for. Yeah. Okay.
It looks great. Yeah, that's my favorite part so far.
There we go. So there we go. So I hope that's not too complicated. You know, so put back this stuff. Yeah, there we go. Okay, you want more? Is this okay?
Is it up to your standards, Josh? Is Josh anymore? Oh no, there he is.
Listen, that feels like an attack comment, Ernest. I think let Pascal do his demo. It's looking amazing.
Oh, I guess I could show you the action thing, and then we'll call it a day. I'm trying to think here. Oh,
yeah, I mean, I feel like the actions could be a whole other thing. I mean, in this case, what is the context? Are the rockets flying through space? You wouldn't add a gradient to the background or anything like that to give it some depth?
Okay. Okay, well, we could get a little dirty here.
I guess it's not up to my standards.
You know, that's perfect because then I could show you, because what I would prefer to do, because I don't like to leave any whites whatsoever, because there's a bunch of, look at all that mess here.
Okay.
So what I prefer to do, and this is just being anal, is make everything underneath this whole thing. I want that to be this color, basically. So the reason, because I was showing you the problem of making this selection when you're zooming in, it starts to screw around with your tools. So and actually I have to be careful myself because the pen tool sometimes crashes Photoshop. So so what I'm gonna do is and this is
make sure you saved often, right? You're saving often.
Well, I'm not gonna do anything with this, but let's go ahead and do it anyway. So
I mean, you know, just make sure to save often. That's a good tip as well.
Yeah, and in case you you're not sure if you saved or anything, you just go up to File, and if the, let's see here. Okay, if you go up to File and the save is available as an option as opposed to being gray, that means you need to save, basically. Yeah. Okay, all right.
Nice.
Okay, let's see. So in order to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new layer. And I'm going to create another vector mask. Pen tool, P, which is this thing here. I'm going to click on the corners. And once again, because I'm not zoomed in close, I'm not sure if these things are completely at these corners. So I've closed off this this rectangle. Right click on it, create vector mask. The cool thing with vector masks is you could zoom in and move the positions of your vectors. In order to move them, you need to click on, okay, so if you click on this arrow, it's the black arrow, and that thing, oh, jeez, 1 second here. This gets confusing to me. Okay.
Yeah, it's not your vector tools. You gotta, that's like your raster tool.
This is the move tool, I'm sorry. So if you go to, that's the black arrow. So the white arrow, and that's, again, I'm sorry, that's another thing about knowing the shortcuts, because the shortcuts for this is A. So if you click A, your vectors are still visible in your vector mask. So I'm drawing a kind of a square lasso around the vector that I want to move around. I don't need to because it's perfectly in the corner, but let's say it was out here basically.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. You could reposition it if you needed.
Exactly. So I can either, to find the other one, because I'm zoomed in now. So, well, you know what? I'm not gonna confuse you guys, but I'm just gonna zoom out, Control minus or the regular tool, zoom in here. So, okay, this one is off. Okay, so this is selected already. Move this here. Okay.
Bam.
Control 0 will get you here. 0, move in on this. And this is why I started to make frames in Photoshop, because look at this mess here. You see all this stuff?
I kind of like it, but yeah, I understand.
Yeah. So, yeah, it does.
I mean, the other good thing about getting your vector mask lined up like this, you could use it to make your border, but that's another demo.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll do that for next time. How I make frames for comic book pages. All right. So we have the box. I want to select that area. I'm going to click on, hold down Control and click here. If you click in here, it's not going to give you anything. So you click inside the gray box. So I have my selection. Make sure to go to the layer. You want to put your color in. Now remember, this is right now, the only thing in this layer is this. I'm sorry. It's this, basically.
All right.
Put everything back to normal. Okay, I'm going to hide my selection, Control H. Alt backspace to fill this in, and again it's the fill thing, fill everything, foreground color, which is this.
Nice.
So now,
ooh, but look what it did to your cool flame effect, right?
That's because I did not fill this with white. It looks like white now because there's nothing there, but and that's obviously easy to fix, you know. So
yeah, you just erase it out of the background, right?
No, what I would do here is what I showed you earlier. First, I'm going to lock this layer just to be safe.
Okay.
Make a new layer, get the brush. I want the aggressive brush. Oh, it's already selected. That's not big enough for me, so using the brackets. If you press, well, you could go in here and get white, or white is here already, or if you press the letter D, it'll go to default black and white. I don't want black, I want white, so press X. switches them over.
Oh, nice.
So there's nothing on this layer. Make sure that there's nothing here, of course, and then you fill that in, basically.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Okay.
Restored our blast. Very nice.
Is that enough, or you want more stuff back here?
I mean, I would say I would like to see how you might add a gradient to the background to make your rocket pop, you know, instead of the flat color. Is that something you would usually do, or do you prefer to have the flat color?
Oh, it all depends. I'll go ahead and make a gradient. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to combine the white with the base colors because it probably should be there to begin with. Okay, here we go. All right. Lock that to be safe. All right. I really hate the gradient tool, but it is a necessity at times. So we can mess with this, or we could put a gradient over it. I'm going to put one over it just because that gives me more ability to redo and undo things or whatever. So the first thing you could do then is basically use a softer brush. Let's see. Make it bigger. Yeah, you could either click on the brackets or hold them down, basically. If you hold it down, it'll keep going.
Okay, so you could paint in a gradient, or you could use the gradient tool.
Yes, yes, yes. So let's use this white color. Yeah, so we'll do both, basically. What I tend to do sometimes is I pick a color, but I don't go in at 100% with it. So what I do then is I set it to, let's say, I don't know, 58% or something like that. So then it's a softer brush, which means that.
Ooh, look at that! Look at how that's popping.
Well, what the cool thing with having it at a lower percentage than 100 is you could, if you hold it down and you draw it in, lift off the tablet and then go back in again. And then the more you do that,
right?
Yeah. So that's one way to do it. We'll do that. We'll do that with the black here. Basically, yeah. So that's one way to do it. So let's see. I think this is selected, right? Okay, selected. So if I want to get rid of that, you can undo it, or just, since this is selected, if I press the delete key, everything in here is deleted. So now the gradient is G for the gradient tool, which is that. Click inside here, because this stuff here up here changes. This stuff here changes depending on what tool you have. The brush here, gradient here. Let's just do a regular. It should go to the regular gradient by default. This is too complicated for today, so just go in, and this will show you which one you have selected.
Well, I think you want to click the far left, right? Yeah, there you go. You want the linear gradient, right?
Yep. Yeah.
You click that icon on the far left for linear gradient, and then you get these options.
Yeah. So you could do practically anything here. So if the checkerboard pattern means there's nothing, not a color, nothing. So right now it's just set to white.
Transparency only.
Which means that if I used it, it would just go from to nothing, basically. So let me undo that. Go up here.
That's like an Image Comics look from the 90s, I feel like, the gradient.
So let's pick something. This is a bunch of defaulted ones, because right now, I think if I go in here, yeah, this is always going to be nothing. So let's pick one.
Right, but then if you click into the white, you can like change it, right? To a different color.
What I do is I just go in here and start messing with the colors, basically. I just So yeah, sometimes I confuse myself here. So let's see, because there's a difference between this and that up here. So let's see, if I double click here, I'll pick whatever color I want to go to from here to double click in here. Okay.
Oh yeah, that's going to be good.
Okay, let's do that. And the cool thing is, if I click inside here, I can add more colors.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I think if you want to undo that, you just click on it and move away from that whole area.
And even the sliders in between, right? Like you can affect the fade. Yeah, there you go. Like if you want, you could affect the fade in between the colors.
Yeah. Okay, so that sounds good. So the tool is selected, and you could go in two different directions with this thing. So there's one,
Damn.
yeah, basically, and go over. Yeah. So
Damn.
yeah, so
Nice.
yeah.
It
So
looks cool, man. It makes it look more dramatic, I think. That's cool
yeah,
with the great.
yeah. So now one last real quick thing, and this is gonna get insanely complicated, but I'll just do it real quick. So let's see. Actually, storm clouds.
Oh yeah? You
Let's put this sucker in there. All right. Yeah, the one thing that's probably a good idea for everybody is I have a gigantic folder just filled with reference material. So that's always a good thing to have.
yes.
So many clouds.
Always go to the source, which is life itself, right?
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna put that on top of this thing. Yeah, the cool thing with Photoshop is where's my storm clouds? Okay. I'm not sure this works on a Apple, which is another reason why I don't like the Apple. But so I got my folder here with all my images. So here's the storm clouds. Click and drag it into Photoshop, basically. So
Oh, okay.
right. So I'm gonna
Oh
grab.
wow, that all right. Now we're talking. Now we're cooking with gas.
So grab the selection tool. I'm gonna grab this area here. Actually, let's see what I can do with all this. All right, copy that. Let's see, that's another Control-C for copy, obviously, but let's see. Copy. Okay, I don't need this anymore. Yeah, I don't need this, so I'm going to close this. How do you do close? There we go. Okay. Okay. All right. So I'm on this layer. What Photoshop does too, if you want to paste something from an outside source and you want it to localize it to a particular area on your canvas, you select that area. So just like I was doing with the vector mask, hold down Control, click inside here, not out here, but in here. So this is selected. Control V for paste, which is paste. Okay, the problem is this happens with, because this image is at 300 resolution, and the image that I got here was probably at 72 or something smaller. So what happens is it's a lot smaller than the canvas.
Oh, like it's tiny.
Yeah, so it's no big deal. But here's the and when we're not using this arrow, this time we're using a move tool. So I'm going to move that up here.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Control T, Command T, free transform, baby.
There we go. So
our old friend, your best friend in Photoshop. You got to know that tool.
Yeah. So I'm using one of the corners to. Yeah. So see, I wanted to see that in here, but whatever. Anyway. But yeah, here it is. Now the good thing about, and I will go into it next time, but the good thing about making my own frames in Photoshop is if I'm on layer, then this stuff here would be white, and so you would, even if the image went in this area between the frames, you wouldn't see it. So we'll have to do that next time. But anyway, so yeah, I think that's enough. Yeah. I think that's enough information for you guys on one night.
No, that's cool. You've given us a lot of amazing information. I think we should get into some more advanced Photoshop demos in the future, and we can talk about actions and all that good stuff. But
yeah,
this is great. Thanks for exploring the gradients a little bit.
Sure.
I do think it's cheesy, but if you're a good designer, you can add some nice pop to your panels.
Yeah.
A little gradation.
Yeah. Well, actually, this whole thing here could have been a gradient, actually, but that would get really complicated for me to show you guys that. Yeah.
We can always do a sequel in the future. So
yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, sky's the limit.
Yeah.
Yes, just as the illustration kind of shows us, the sky is the limit.
That is true. Literal sky's the limit.
Or maybe beyond the sky, actually, in this case. I don't know. I'm assuming that rocket's going into outer space, or is it?
Can you tell us more about the rocket? I mean, what is it going to do?
Well, this is okay, let's see here. Okay, there it is. And the next one, it destroys this building, basically.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's like there's like a missile.
Yeah. Yeah, this is where. Yeah,
you didn't think it was a missile?
Yeah. Oh, I thought it was I thought it was like a rocket ship going.
Okay.
Right. Oh, I always thought it was a missile.
Well, I guess now that we have that background, it kind of seems more like a missile. But initially, when it was just negative space, it could have been anywhere.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, right. Well, that's cool. The imagination does wonders. You got to bring your own imagination to comics and reading.
Yep. All right, I'm gonna stop the screen share unless you have more questions.
Yeah. Anybody have any questions? I mean, we can, if anybody's watching.
I mean, if anyone has questions in the chat, we're hanging out for a while. We'll answer your questions. Don't listen to Ernest, who's shutting down your input.
Okay.
No, Melancholy and Infinite Sadness is a great double album. So
okay. What are your favorite songs from that album?
Don't get discouraged, okay?
I'm just curious. What are your favorite? What do you like about that album? What songs?
Only Come Out at Night is a fantastic song. Rat in a Cage. The list goes on and on.
Okay, Rat in the Cage, probably the best song. Is that on? That's not on Melancholy, is it?